everybody, welcome back. My name is Ali, and today I'm going to be playing 100 Days of Stardew Valley. So for absolutely no reason, back in early 2020, I played a lot of this game, and then I didn't touch it for like 2 years. But I decided recently that I really wanted to start playing it again, so here we are. I remembered very little about how to actually play the game and like what you're supposed to do to be successful in it. And I didn't really want to do a lot of research because I thought it'd be more fun to just kind of struggle through it and learn it all again. My main goals for this run were to start dating Leah, who is by far the best bachelor, bachelorette, candidate, whatever. If you have other opinions, you can debate me in the comments, but you're wrong. My other goals are to get to the bottom of the Skull Cavern, which I've actually never done before, but we're gonna do it today. Finish the community center and make at least 500k, which I know to most people those are pretty basic goals, but listen, I'm basically new at this. Let me have it, okay? Without further ado, here are my 100 days in Stardew Valley. After making my character and crying over this cutscene, I woke up super excited to start day one. I went outside and cleared out a bit of my farm to plant my parsnips. I was having a hard time with the controls and didn't know how to undo hoed areas, so whatever, I know that's embarrassing, but whatever. I instantly just hoed a bunch of stuff, resulting in a very ugly plot. But I planted my seeds and went on with my day. I went around meeting people, did a bunch of foraging, eventually met Leah, who I just love Leah. I met a few other people, sold some things I got from foraging, and cleared out more land on my farm until bedtime. On day 2, I woke up and watered crops, which is the first and last time you'll hear me say that because I basically did that every day. I got a request from Willie for 2 smallmouth bass, but I realized I hadn't actually met him, so I did that and got my fishing rod. I did a little bit of foresting, but then I really just wanted to start fishing because I absolutely love fishing in this game, so I did that until I caught the fish I needed. I gave Willie the fish he wanted, and then I spent the rest of the day fishing in this area for absolutely no particular reason. I ended the day by starting to clear out the south entrance to my farm. Day 3 was the first of many rainy days, so I spent the day clearing out some land on my farm and built a chest for some extra storage. I fished until I ran out of energy and then stopped by the bar and spent a ridiculous amount of gold this early in the game for a salad, but it made Leah happy, so it was worth it. The next day I decided to go get the backpack upgrade and buy some green bean seeds. I continued creating literally the ugliest farm plot to ever exist, and I promise I will eventually fix it, but for now my biggest priority was just to get all my seeds planted. I cleared out a bit more of my farm, wandered around town for a bit, and then did some night fishing. On day 5, I was so excited to unlock the community center until I googled it and realized that it doesn't unlock when it rains, so that was annoying. Anyways, I harvested my parsnips and then I went to Pierre's and bought a bunch of potatoes. I planted my seeds, cut down a few trees, and went fishing. On day 6, it rained again, so I still couldn't lock the community center, but it's fine, I'm fine. I built my first scarecrow, and then I headed to the mines and met Marlin. I didn't bring a lot of food, which was really dumb, but it's fine. I just wanted to get as far as I could get, and I didn't get very far. I got to floor 7, but I'm not very good at the mines, as you'll soon discover. I went back home, ate some food, and cleared out a better path to the south of my farm. Then I did some gathering, stopped by the pub, and fished until I completely ran out of energy. On day 7, it was finally sunny, and I was so excited, and the cherry on top is that Clint gave me the recipe for the furnace. Lewis finally showed me the community center, and then I immediately got spooked by these little apple guys and left immediately. I donated a few things to Gunther, fished most of the day, and then went gathering, went to the bar, and talked to some neighbors. Day 8 started out a bit rough because I went and tried to talk to Shane, but then I accidentally clicked on the garbage can and dug through it in front of him, and he was rude, but let's be honest, Shane is always kind of an asshole, so it didn't matter too much. I went and got high with the wizard and finally could start the community center. I immediately finished the spring foraging funnel, which made both me and the Junimos so happy. I bought some parsnip seeds and then immediately went and planted and watered them, as well as all of the seeds I got from the Junimos. Later that evening, I had an encounter with George, who was being an asshole to Linus, and obviously Linus has never done anything wrong in his life, so I was very nice to him, and so was Gus, because Gus is the best. After that was all done, I did some fishing and dropped off what I got at the community center before heading to bed. On day 9, I decided to go to the mines with the goals of getting some materials, killing 10 slimes, and hopefully reaching floor 10 at the very least, but at floor 6, I was overwhelmed by slimes and died. Luckily, I had literally nothing on me, so I didn't lose anything, but with my ego bruised, I decided to head to bed early. On day 10, Marnie brought me a dog, who I named Pickles, and immediately became obsessed with. Just look at him! Sebastian wanted a Joja Cola, so I spent most of the day buying and delivering that to him, which ended up being a complete waste of time because the cost of the cola was the same amount as the reward, but whatever, it made him happy, so I guess that's good. While I waited for him to come out of his room so I could actually give him the cola, I got to do a lot of fishing and was able to donate a lot of those to the community center, so it wasn't a complete waste. On day 11, I harvested and sold all of my potatoes, and I was so excited to be rich for like the 30 seconds it took for me to walk over to Pierre's and spend all of my money on parsnip, cauliflower, and more potato seeds. I planted and watered all of my new seeds, and then that used most of my energy, so I just spent the rest of the day gathering, and I eventually found Robin's axe. The next day, I did a little bit of everything. I cleared out a lot of land on my farm, returned Robin's axe, went fishing for a bit, and then I stopped by the bar and gave Leah a flower. And to end off the night, I donated the fish I'd caught earlier to the community center. The next day was the egg festival, and I was so excited until I realized that that's when the strawberry seeds were sold. For some reason, I kept thinking they were sold at the flower dance festival. they're not, and I had literally no money, but I bought the few that I could. But my sadness from not being able to buy a bunch of strawberry seeds completely disappeared when I won the egg festival and put on my new fancy hat. Take that, Abigail. On day 14, I harvested and sold all of my potatoes and then bought a bunch of cauliflower and parsnips. After planting them, I did some gathering, then stopped by the bar and watered as many plants as I could before I ran out of energy. On day 15, I harvested crops, gave Willie a daffodil he requested, and then mined the rest of the day and got all the way to floor 10. The next day, while trying to buy more seeds from Pierre, I ran into Morris, who, you know, sucks, but honestly, Pierre is almost as bad. I don't know if that's a hot take, but Pierre's so annoying. Pierre's so greedy. Morris just kind of looks like a penguin. I kind of vibe with him. But anyways, I bought more potatoes, remembered why I didn't like Sam, planted my potatoes, and then gathered salmon berries all day. I fished most of day 17 and then dropped some of those off at the community center and then gathered salmon berries the rest of the day. On day 18, I harvested and sold some crops, bought more potatoes, cleared out a few trees on my farm, and then went mining and got all the way to floor 17. I know. I'm so bad at mining, send help. Day 19 was pretty chill. All I did was harvest some crops, drop a few things off at the museum. I gathered for a little while and then gave Leah the first of many salmon berries and then fished the rest of the day. On day 20, I had good luck and I was really determined to start making some actual progress in the mines. So I went and mined all the way to floor 25, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it was a lot for me. The next day, I broke some geodes and donated some things to the museum, and then I went to start gathering down in the forest and saw Jazz and Vincent playing around in the sewer. I remembered that Krobus existed. I don't know why, but I had completely forgotten Krobus was like a thing, and I love Krobus, so I was so excited. Today, I also remembered that the traveling cart was a thing, so I went and bought a rare seed from there, and then I mined to floor 34, and I didn't quite get to 35, which was really annoying, but it's fine. On day 22, I broke even more geodes, and then Clint asked for 25 copper, and I thought I literally just had to give him a stack of 25 copper because I can't read apparently. So when I went to give him a piece of copper, he got mad at me, but it's also like, that's your job, my guy. You sell me copper. How come when I give you copper, it's insulting? Yeah, I hate you too, buddy. After that, I decided to go mining, and I finally got through the dark levels, which are literally the worst levels of the mine. I hate them so much. They take me so long to get through. And my reward for all of that trauma, all of that turmoil, was the slingshot, which is immediately gonna go and rot in my chest forever, but yay. On day 23, I harvested my cauliflower and sold most of them, so I was rich again, which was great. I also gave one to Jody for a quest, and then I donated a few things to the community center. I fished the rest of the day, said hi to Leah, and finally built some furnaces to start smelting copper. The next day was the flower dance, but since I had some time in the morning, I decided to smelt the rest of my copper, sell my potatoes, and then I chopped trees until I had to go to the dance. I talked to everyone and then debated asking Leah, but I decided not to because I knew I'd get rejected, and I just watched awkwardly from the corner as they did that. It's not the most impressive dance, but they look like they're having fun, which I guess is all that matters. I know I'm having fun, standing next to my best friend Clint. And that actually surprisingly wasn't too sarcastic because the next day I went and gave him my axe to upgrade, which I was so excited about, so I could finally get some hardwood. I also talked to Leah about having an art show in town so she could show off her sculptures. Lastly, I went mining and got to floor 50, but it was super late at night and I passed out literally the second I stepped inside my house. On day 26, it was raining and I decided to go fishing since I hadn't caught a lot of rainy fish. I also put some iron in the furnaces to start smelting and then went mining to kill slimes for a request. On day 27, I donated a few things to the museum and then fished most of the day in the mountains, but decided to do a little bit of mining and got to floor 55. I know since the skull cavern doesn't work like this that this isn't the best strategy, but at this point in the run, I just really wanted to start getting down as far as possible in the mines, so I really wanted to start doing little chunks and giving myself goals of 5 to 10 floors a day, not trying to go crazy and get to the bottom in a single day, and that seemed to work a lot better for me. On day 28, since it was the last day of spring and all of my crops were gonna die anyways, I decided that I was going to spend the day shaping my farm. I went and destroyed all of my plots and created cute little areas for my plants and sprinklers for the next season, and it took me all day and all of my energy. I got in bed that night so proud and so ready for summer to start. On day 29, I was so excited to start planting some summer crops, which I know are super profitable, and then I walked outside and realized that all of my work yesterday was for nothing. So I spent most of the morning fixing what I did yesterday, but it was fine. It didn't take too long. And then I went and bought a bunch of seeds, mostly blueberries because they are by far the best crop. And then I planted and watered all of them, which took a really long time. I also, for some reason, thought I needed copper instead of gold for quality sprinklers, so I had a lot more work to do in the mines before I was even close to being able to make sprinklers for my farm. Today was kind of a rough day because I realized that I had wasted a bunch of time and was really far behind, but it did give me a lot of motivation to start really grinding in the mines and really start optimizing my run through. And that started the very next day because I went to the mines and actually got all the way to floor 65, but I got there super late at night and passed out on my way back home. The next day I went mining again and got to floor 70, which gave me the master slingshot. Yay! It went right next to the normal slingshot to rot forever in a chest. On day 32, I decided I needed a bit of a break, so I donated a few items to both the museum and the community center and then fished the rest of the day. On day 33, I gathered most of the day trying to find some more summer forageables, and then in the evening I stopped by the bar and gave Leah a salad because, I'm a simp. And then I donated a few items to the community center. On day 34, I had good luck, so I decided to go mining, and I got a bone sword really early on, which was cracked compared to my sword at the time, and I was so excited about it. And I also reached floor 80, so I could start getting gold, so really productive day for me. On day 35, I made my first sprinkler and then decided to go mining again. I really just went to get gold, but I also managed to get to level 85 while I was there, so that was great. That night, I reached mining level 5 and decided to become a geologist. The next day, I made some more sprinklers and then put items in both the community center and the museum. I then fished the rest of the day because I wanted to. It rained on day 37, so I decided to stop by and say hi to Leah. We talked shit about her ex, and then I gave her a morel because that's obviously what all women want. And then I spent the rest of the day in the mines. I got to floor 90 and got the obsidian edge, which was awesome. And then I decided I was done for the day and dropped some things off at the community center. I spent literally all of day 38 fishing in the mountains trying to get a sturgeon, but I had absolutely no luck. The next day was the luau, and I realized I completely forgot to prepare something, so I literally just opened my chest and grabbed the first thing I saw, which happened to be a silver quality spice berry. I figured the governor would hate it, but he shockingly liked it. I don't know how. I don't know. Move over, Guy Fieri, there's a new mayor in Flavortown. On day 40 it rained, so I gathered most of the morning. Then I spent time clearing my farm while I waited for some iron to smelt to upgrade my axe. Also, while I waited for my iron to smelt, I went and bought and planted an apple tree. Finally, my iron was done smelting, so I tried to go and give them to Clint, but I didn't get there in time because he closes at 4 p.m. Get a life, stay open longer, what are you doing? To relieve my frustration, I just decided to fish in the ocean the rest of the day. On day 41, it rained again, so I just harvested and sold my melons and then planted the rest of my summer seeds. I bought a pomegranate seed, and then I also bought another apple seed because I somehow forgot I already had one. No, this was not 2 separate recording sessions. This was literally in like a 20-minute time frame. I don't know what I was doing. I decided to just plant them both, and then I went and gave Clint my axe to upgrade before fishing the rest of the day. On day 42, the first of my blueberries were ready, and I became filthy rich. All hail the blueberry god. I dropped up some crops at the community center, bought some more corn and wheat seeds, planted and watered them, and then fished the rest of the day. On day 43, I switched it up a bit by fishing in the morning, and then I went and got my steel axe and gave Clint my pick to upgrade. I also went to the secret forest to harvest hardwood for the first time, and I also fished in the pond there to get a wood skip. The next day, I dropped a few things off at the community center, got a little bit more hardwood, and then spent most of the day clearing out my farm. My next big goals were to get a barn and a coop, and I really wanted to make sure that my farm looked cute, so I wanted to have a special little area for them, so I started the process of clearing that out. On day 45, I woke up determined to get a sturgeon, which I finally did. In the evening, I moved and started fishing over in the ocean. On day 46, I harvested and sold some crops, donated some things to the community center, got more hardwood, and continued to clear out my farm because I really wanted to start building more buildings. The next day, I cleared out some more area, and I thought I had enough to build a barn, but when I went to actually go build it, I realized I had so much more work to do, so I just kept working on that the rest of the day. On day 48, I was actually able to buy my first barn, and then I decided to go mining, and I got all the way to floor 100, which unlocked my first star drop. The next day, I built some more sprinklers, then rebuilt the bridge at the beach to get more items to forage. I foraged most of the day, then started to make my farm look nice by putting down pathing. I also cleared out a little bit more of my farm. On day 50, I sold more of my blueberries and once again was filthy rich, so I decided to finish the vault, which was my first completely finished community center bundle. I was so excited, and so were the Junimos, of course. I mined the rest of the day and got to floor 107 and then watched my favorite little apples fix the bus for me. On day 51 it rained, which was super nice because I didn't have to water my crops. I decided to make some more sprinklers and then I went to the desert for the first time. It may seem like kind of a waste because I hadn't gotten to the bottom of the mines yet, so I couldn't actually go into the skull cavern, but I really wanted to go fishing so I could get a sandfish. I eventually caught it, then went home and donated it to the community center. I spent the rest of the evening fishing in the mines to get the ghost fish, which I also got and donated. On day 52, I started to build my first coop, and I also added some more fences around where my barn and coop are going to be. I wanted to create a cute little area for my animals by this cliffside, so I didn't have to waste as much fencing because I could just use the cliff. I also added a little bit more flooring and just in general did some decorating around my farm. I know it still looks kind of bad, but I really felt like it was starting to come together at least a little bit. The next day, Leah stopped by to give me the statue called How I Feel About Allie, which is just, that's so cute. She's great. Anyways, I then went and bought my first cow. I like to have theme names for all of my animals in Stardew, and usually I just do a theme across all of my animals, but I don't know why I was feeling a little different today, so I decided to have a different theme for my barn animals and my coop animals. For instance, I decided that the barn animals were all going to have food-inspired names, so I bought a cow and named it Lasagna. I then spent the rest of the day clearing out my farm and organizing a few things. On day 54, it rained, which was already a win, and then I got to harvest blueberries, so it was a double win. I was super excited today. However, all that excitement came crashing down when I realized I accidentally built my coop a little too far back, which just infuriated me. And also for some reason I thought it cost money to move the buildings, so instead of just walking over to Robin and have her move the building right then and there, I just left it. I was just gonna leave it like that. Go ahead and place your bets in the comments for how long it took me to realize that I could just go and move it for free, and instantly too. Like, I don't even know what I was thinking. Anyways, I eventually decided to go mining, but I started having really bad luck and eventually just gave up when I reached an infested level, so I just decided to go home and chop trees until I ran out of energy. On day 55, I bought my first chick and named it Turkey because I decided that all of the coop animals would be named after different birds because I thought it would be funny to have a bunch of chickens named after birds. This was before I realized that there are other animals besides chickens in the coop. It's been a long time since I played this game, y'all. Anyways, after that I got Robin to start building a silo so my animals wouldn't die during the winter, and then decided to fish the rest of the day. On day 56, I bought another chick that I decided to name Pigeon, and then I gathered and fished until the Moonlight Jelly Festival. For a moment I panicked because I couldn't find Leah, and I literally was like looking everywhere for her and was like, why is she not here? But I did eventually find her. She was kind of hiding away on the other side of the beach, and I talked to her and all the other townspeople. Then I watched the beautiful jellies dance as summer officially came to an end. On the first day of fall, I of course went and bought all of my new seeds and then planted and watered all of them. I gathered a lot of the day trying to find all the fall forageables, but was unsuccessful. While I was in the forest, I was gathering and saw this scene with Leah, and let's just say the apple is like the least fruity thing going on in the situation. The next day I walked into town and learned that special requests were a thing. I genuinely did not know that they existed, but they're really cool, so I decided to accept one to find ectoplasm for the wizard. I did a little fishing and a little bit of gathering because I still hadn't found all the fall forageables, and then decided to go try to find that ectoplasm, but I was unsuccessful. I woke up the next day determined to find it though, so after doing a little bit of gathering, I headed to the mines and did eventually get an ectoplasm. On day 60, I went gathering again because I still could not find all the fall forageables. I think at this point I had all of them but plums. I don't know why, I could not find a plum. But anyways, after I gathered, I decided I was just going to chop trees all day because I wanted to get enough wood for the house upgrade. The next day I had really good luck, so after watering my crops and tending my animals, I decided to go and try to reach the bottom of the mine. I didn't quite make it, but I did make a lot of good progress and became determined to reach it as soon as possible. The next day I bought the housing upgrade and then spent the rest of the day in the mines, and I finally reached the bottom, which unlocked the Skull Cavern. I was so excited and I really wanted to go the next good luck day I had. On day 63, after doing a little bit of fishing, I gathered for most of the day because I really wanted to find a plum. I felt sure that they were somewhere and I was just missing them, but I truly don't think any had spawned, which was kind of crazy in my opinion, but whatever. And then I realized I had set these crab pots out like several days ago, but I never put any bait in them, and I was just really confused why they weren't giving me anything, and it's because I didn't put bait in them, so I fixed that, don't worry. And then when I went to bed at night, my dog was in my bed. It was so cute. Look at Pickles! The next day, I finished the boiler room bundle, which was super exciting, and then I gathered most of the day, still couldn't find a plum, and then I chopped down trees to upgrade my barn the rest of the day. I really wanted to go ahead and upgrade my barn and coop all the way, so most of these next few days I did a lot of resource gathering. On day 65, I woke up to my new kitchen, and after watering my crops and tending my animals, I decided to gather, and I finally found a plum, and I was just so happy. I don't know why, but this plum was evading me for 9 days, and to finally have it in my arms was like the greatest feeling in the world. I also finished the fishing bundle, and it was really nice to have 2 bundles done in 2 days. I chopped trees until I ran out of energy and then went to bed very, very fulfilled with the day. The next day was pretty chill. I did a little bit of gathering and then went and bought the barn upgrade. I chopped trees the rest of the day because I still had a lot more upgrades to go. On day 67, I finally had good luck, so I decided I was gonna go to the Skull Caverns, and I was so determined to do well and then immediately died on floor 2. I was really not prepared looking back, but I was still really disappointed in myself. Since I didn't have any energy left, I just decided to gather the rest of the day, and then I went to bed early. The next day, I bought the coop upgrade from Robin and then went and bought a goat who I named Stir Fry. I decided to go mining the rest of the day because I was running really low on iron and tried to make it back, but unfortunately passed out right in front of my house. The next day was day 69, and it couldn't have started out any more perfect because Leah showed up to tell me about her art show, which was happening later that day. I decided that after her art show, I was going to give her a bouquet, and if she accepted, we'd officially start dating. I did a couple errands, and eventually it was time for the art show. Leah did great. What a talented queen. Yes, we love abstract art. She ended the art show by calling me her special friend, which is just the most close friends, besties, roommates, colleagues that I've ever heard. But don't worry, I gave her the bouquet and now we're officially girlfriends so we can stop, gal palling around the issue. On day 70, I built a few more sprinklers and then decided to go buy 2 ducks, who I named Cockatoo and Toucan. I stopped by Leah's house to give her a salad, and then I also went and upgraded my chicken coop. I went to the Skull Caverns in the afternoon and only got to floor 7, but I didn't die this time, so at least there's some progress. The next day was honestly kind of boring, but I did do a couple important things, like give Clint my pickaxe so he could upgrade it. I also donated a few things to the library, did a little bit of fishing, and ended my day by chopping down some trees because I still had a lot more upgrades to go. Day 72 is the day of the Stardew Fair, and it honestly was really successful. I did spend an embarrassingly long time trying to win the strength game, and I did eventually do it, but it did take a very, very, very long time and many, many attempts. And I was so excited for some big jackpot when I finally did it, and it was literally just a single star token. Just one. Anyways, I tried out all the games, but I was honestly terrible at all of them except for the fishing one, so I just fished until I had enough coins to buy both the Star Drop and the Rare Crow. I then remembered that the whole reason we were doing this fair is to show off the displays, so I put my items in there and then told Mayor Lewis, and once the points were tallied, it turned out that I won the display, which was awesome because I honestly didn't really have that great up items, so don't really know how that happened, but I will definitely take it. On day 73, after buying the upgraded barn from Robin and collecting my upgraded axe from Clint, I was determined to do my best in the Skull Cavern. I was not going to die, and I was going to get past at least floor 10. And I slayed. Like, I did so good. I got all the way to floor 40, which for me is just, like, unheard of. And I was very, very, very proud of myself. And I didn't even die. Like, I know. Who am I? Let me know if you'd be interested in seeing me do a run of Stardew Valley where I can only make money from mining, because I feel like it'd force me to get really good at mining, and I desperately need that because it's really embarrassing that I'm proud of myself for getting to floor 40. There's 100 floors. Like, I have so much more to go. The next day, I broke all the geodes I collected from that run in the Skull Cavern, which was a lot. I then decided to go back to the Skull Cavern, not really expecting to go far, which I didn't. I really just went there to get ores, which I did get a lot of, so that was good. On day 75, I went and bought a lot of animals, like a lot of animals. I bought 2 rabbits who I named Penguin and Crow, a pig named Bean, a sheep named Noodle, and a brown chicken named Sparrow. I went and broke all of my geodes and donated stuff to both the library and the community center, and then spent the evening cutting down trees. Okay, before I tell you what happened on day 76, I do have a bit of a confession to make. I said at the beginning of the video that I wasn't going to do any Googling or research, and I was just going to kind of learn the game as I went. But that was a bit of a lie because I knew I had a prismatic shard and I knew I could do something with that prismatic shard, but I had no idea what that was, so I did Google it. Turns out if you go stand in this little triangle in the desert, you can get the galaxy edge. Yes, it was kind of cheating to break my rules like that, but it's also my challenge and my rules, so I can bend them a little as a treat. I'm sure most of y'all don't care that I Googled that to get the sword, but the game definitely apparently did because it punished me severely. On floor 21 of the Skull Caverns, I was trying to eat something and accidentally clicked yes to leaving the mines, which is definitely the stupidest thing I've done in the run so far. I decided not to reset the day because I felt that would really go against the spirit of the challenge, so I just decided to go back down into the Skull Caverns and collect as much ore as I could. The next day I decided to go to Clint's bright and early so that he could break all my geodes, and I also wanted to give him my pickaxe so we could upgrade it to gold. However, I realized I forgot it, and at this point in time I had not realized that the minecarts were a thing, so I literally walked all the way to Clint's, then all the way back home, then all the way back Clint's. So, wasted my morning, but it was okay. I eventually gave him my pickaxe to upgrade, which was good. I then decided since I had bad luck and didn't really feel like doing anything else that day, that I'd go make the food I needed for the cooking bundle. After a long day of preparing for my Food Network audition, I donated all the food I needed and also the rabbit's foot that I got yesterday. I chopped trees the rest of the day because you can never, ever have enough wood in Stardew Valley. Day 78 was a bit of a random one. I organized some chests, I chopped some trees. I then decided to go check and see if the hat mouse, that my best friend had any more hats for me, and I bought 2 of them and I ended up not liking either of them, so I just put back on my headband. After wasting most of my day, I decided to go and check the quest board and accepted a quest to give Gus 24 eggs. Then Linus gave me a new recipe for fish bait because of course he did, he's the best villager in the game, he slays. Since I was in the area, I decided I'd go ahead and sell my old sword since I had the galaxy one now. I also decided that if you guys want another 100 days of this series, then one of my goals is going to be to get this galaxy hammer because I've never bought it before and it's really expensive and I think it'd be fun to use. On day 79, a lot of my crops were ready to harvest, so I harvested them and sold them to Pierre's. I then decided to upgrade my fishing pole to the iridium one and fished literally all day. Like, not an exaggeration, I fished until 2 a.m. to the point where I literally passed out. I don't know how I passed out from fishing, but the fact that this is only the second most embarrassing thing I've done, not only just in this run, but in the last like couple days, yikes. On day 80, my gold pickaxe was ready, so I went and picked that up and headed straight to the Skull Caverns. I got to floor 30, which was pretty good, but it was getting kind of late, and I came across a dino floor, which I just don't like these infested floors, so I just decided to leave. On day 81, after doing my daily stuff, I decided to drop off some eggs for Gus and some crops for Pierre. I don't remember when this was, but I accepted a quest to collect a bunch of gold quality vegetables for Pierre, so I was just dropping some of those off. I also decided to give Clint my axe to upgrade, and then I just fished the rest of the day, and then I passed out again. I don't know what I was doing. The next day I had good luck, so I decided to go to the Skull Cavern, and I made it pretty far. I made it all the way to floor 37, but I ended up passing out. Day 83 was a big day for me. I first went and bought a chicken, who I named Falcon, and then I finally realized that I could move my barn for free, taking no time, so I moved it so it was even with the coop. I also decided to go ahead and build a shed because eventually I want to have a bunch of wine kegs, and I figured by putting them all in the shed, they can stay out of the way, but I can still have a lot of them. I fished until it was time to go to the Spirits Eve festival. Once there, I talked to everyone, did the maze, got the golden pumpkin, and bought the rare crow. The next day, I finished the pantry bundle, which means I finally unlocked the greenhouse just in time for winter. I dropped off more eggs for Gus, and then Leah made us a cute little picnic, which her ex Cal interrupted. I didn't punch her, I'm not the punching type, but Leah definitely is, which She slays. She's a girl boss. Good for her. I then decided to spend the rest of the day at the Skull Cavern, even though I knew I was not going to get very far, just for funsies and to get some extra ore. I spent the morning of day 85 prepping the greenhouse for the coming season. I also decided to do some foraging and ended up finishing the foraging bundle. I went and got my axe from Clint, and while I was there I decided to go ahead and have him break a lot of geodes and upgrade my pick to iridium. I continued to work on setting up the greenhouse the rest of the day. I finished setting up the greenhouse the very next morning, and then I went and bought a bunch of starfruit, as much as I could afford, and planted all of it in the greenhouse. You might be screaming at me at this moment in time that I literally have 2 rare seeds, but I completely forgot about them and didn't plant either of them. All that planting and watering literally took so long that I passed out in front of my house. The next day, I got a key from Gunther in the mail for donating so many things. This allowed me to go visit Krobus, but I wasn't quite ready to see him yet. I picked up my iridium pick from Clint, gave Linus a birthday gift, and since Sandy wanted an earth crystal, I picked one up for her and headed to the Skull Caverns. I didn't get very far today, but this was the first of many, many days that I spent in the Skull Caverns. In fact, I spent the entirety of the next 4 days trying to get to the bottom of the Skull Cavern, but had no success. I got a lot of ore and geodes, which was great, but I was still getting nowhere close to level 100. Honestly, if you have any tips, please let me know, because I was really struggling to get to the lower floors. Day 92 was the day of the Winter Festival, and even though it wasn't really surprising, I was still very excited to win the fishing competition. After the festival, I cut down trees until I ran out of energy. On day 93, I gave Clint my trash can to upgrade since I had been kinda neglecting that, and then decided to go to the desert, both to buy starfruit and to try my hand at the Skull Cavern. I still got nowhere near the bottom, but I was trying my best and improving every time, so it was a win for me. The next day was really chill. All I did was fish, and in the evening, I went and shared Gus's ginormous omelet that he made from all the eggs I'd been giving him. On day 95, I got my copper trash can from Clint and decided to just go ahead and upgrade it to iron. I then spent the rest of the day in the Skull Cavern. I knew at this point in the run I had very little chance of actually finishing the Skull Cavern, but I still wanted to keep trying just in case. On day 96, I decided I was emotionally prepared enough to go meet my boy, Krobus. I went ahead and bought the star drop from him, and then since I was in such a good mood from seeing my boy again, I decided to spend the rest of the day giving people gifts. The next day, I got my iron trash can from Clint and just decided to go ahead and upgrade it to gold. I went to the Skull Caverns and got so deep, the deepest I had been, but I ended up passing out and didn't make it to the bottom. On day 98, I spent the entire day giving people gifts. I decided my next goal, if I ever continue the series, is to make sure that I'm friends with all the villagers, so I wanted to go ahead and get a head start on that. I spent the rest of my time in energy fishing. On day 99, I decided to spend most of the day prepping my farm for spring. I hadn't forgotten my lesson from earlier and didn't waste time hoeing the ground, but I just wanted to make sure that I had a general layout and sprinkler plan. Tonight was also the first night of the night market. That was a lot of time saying night, but I didn't have any money, so I couldn't buy anything and didn't really get to do much, which was kind of sad. Since I was too poor to have any fun, I went home early and finished prepping my farm for spring. On day 100, the last day of the challenge, I woke up and almost immediately found this owl statue on my farm. I've never seen it before and I have no idea when it showed up, but I was very excited to have it. I prepped a little bit more for spring and then decided to go to the desert to buy some more starfruit. I decided to go back to the night festival now that I was slightly less poor and wanted to do some night fishing, so that's what I did. I caught a lot of cool fish, but most importantly, I finally got an ancient seed. I was really excited to finally have one, even though I couldn't actually plant it, and I felt like it was a really good omen if I wanted to continue the series. And that was my 100 days in Stardew Valley. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know if there's something I can do to improve my videos, or if you have any tips for Stardew Valley, especially with the Skull Caverns. I really want to finish those. And let me know if you'd want to see 200 days or even 300 days. Since I finished most of my goals this run through, most of my goals would be completely new next time. Some goals I've been thinking about are to get that galaxy hammer I mentioned earlier, become friends with all the villagers, reach whatever that island thing is, get to the bottom of the Skull Cavern, get a horse, and get married. But if you have any ideas, let me know. I've never made a video like this, and it was really fun to make, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I'll see you soon. Bye!